General's Department of Sri Lanka and distinguished invitees along with General Shanta Kotegoda, WWB, RWP, RSP, VSP, USP, the Chancellor of General Sir John Kotalawala Defence University, Rear Admiral HGUD Kumara, VSB, USP, PSC, the Vice Chancellor of General Sir John Kotalawala Defence University.
Ladies and gentlemen, in order to pay respect to our alma mater, I invite you all to rise for the KDU anthem.
Traditional oil lamp, I would like to invite the following dignitaries.
Defence University on stage for the welcome dance.
Performance, ladies and gentlemen, let me take your kind attention to the screen to witness the journey of the Faculty of Criminal Justice of General Sir John Kotalawala Defence University.
Faculty of Criminal Justice is the youngest faculty and the 11th faculty of the KDU.
Please join me in extending a warm welcome to the President of Asian Criminological Society, Professor R. Tilagaraj, to introduce the conference.
It is my prestige and privilege to be here to participate in this conference. The Asian Society of Criminology was established in 2009 with an objective to enhance the research, study the field of criminology and criminal justice in Asian countries, and also bring together the criminologists to speak about their research studies. And this is the 14th conference of Asian criminology, and earlier we had it in different parts of Asian countries. At the outset, I welcome you all to participate and have a nice time to enjoy this wonderful, beautiful Sri Lanka. The conference theme is Asian Crime and Criminal Justice, Sustainable Development, Peace and Security in Asia. This is very important, timely theme to be discussed under various themes.
Deshabandhu, Professor Jeeva Niriyalla, the Dean, Faculty of Criminal Justice, to do the welcome remarks.
I am deeply honored and privileged to make the opening remarks by welcoming all of you to the 14th Asian Criminology Conference 2023 at General Sir John Kotanawala Defence University.
Distinguished guests, dear ladies and gentlemen, good morning to all of you. It's a great honor to introduce Professor John Braithwaite.
Thank you for that kind introduction. It's lovely to be back in beautiful Sri Lanka with this beautiful people, and especially all of the KDU people who have been such wonderful hosts to us and done such a brilliant job of organizing this morning to get us started. And that was too kind an introduction, but thank you for that. That was lovely. First of all, great to be here because congratulations to Sri Lanka. Last night you thrashed the world champions of in cricket, England, in the World Cup match last night. I watched a bit of it last night. A magnificent performance. There's been a lot of work in recent years on crime as a cascade phenomenon. As crime occurs, that begets more crime. So every time a mass shooting occurs in the United States, as we saw this week in the United States, that increases the probability that there will be another mass shooting. Crime as a cascade phenomenon. But war is also a cascade phenomenon. So if your society has a war, that increases the probability that your neighbours in your region will also have wars. If you have one war in your society, if you have one military coup in your society, that increases the probability that you will have more coups and more wars. So crime cascades to more crime. War cascades to more war, and war also cascades to crime, and crime to war. So my two most recent books have been very much about that thing. My 2018 book with Bangladeshi scholar Bina Da Costa, which is called Cascades of Violence, Crime, War and Peace Building in South Asia, and my 2022 book, Macro-Criminology and Freedom. They're both open access books. You can just Google them and access them for free on the internet. They both summarize that empirical evidence that crime and war are cascade phenomena. And more than that, the cascade from war to crime is an intergenerational phenomenon. So in my own country, Australia, for example, it's true that a big study that was done in Australia of Vietnam War veterans. Vietnam War veterans are more likely to commit suicide, more likely to become involved in certain forms of violence than control citizens of the same age cohort, basically my generation, with the Vietnam War veterans. They're more likely to have drug addiction problems and a variety of other problems. But more disturbingly, the same is true of their children. So that when you have a war, when a society is involved in a war, a big war like the Vietnam War, you have intergenerational transmission of trauma. So here's a remarkable finding from that empirical study of Australian war veterans. Not only do the sons and daughters of Australian Vietnam War veterans have higher rates of mental health symptoms, drug addiction, suicide ideation, and so on. It's also true, most disturbingly, that the daughters of our Vietnam War victims have higher incidence of rape victimization than a control group in the general population of that age cohort. So this has been a new generation of an important kind of criminological research. But there's some good news for Asia in this, in that up till the time of, and including the period of the Cambodian genocide, Asia was the continent that had the highest death rate from war. And of course, Sri Lanka, he was a contributor to that high death rate. It's no longer such a contributor today.
Let us now listen to a recorded speech by His Excellency Mohan Piris. Thank you.
I am pleased to participate in the inaugural session of the 14th Asian Criminology Conference of this university in collaboration with the Asian Criminology Society. And may I take this opportunity of thanking the conference organizers for inviting me here, as I think it and I consider it a privilege. My dear students, I have learned that the conference hosts a galaxy of criminologists, law professionals, experts and professionals in criminal justice, and scholars and researchers, not only from Sri Lanka, from across other Asian continents and beyond. So, considering the immense interest that has been developed in the run-up to this conference, I have every confidence that there will be some valuable takeaways at the end of this conference, particularly at a time when peace and security in the world is subject to unprecedented threats, to the extent that even a high premium that we would be willing to pay would not secure for us, for humanity, this very precious commodity.
To present the keynote speaker with a token of appreciation.
This will indeed become an interesting and intellectually stimulating session.
I would like to call upon the chairperson of the plenary session, Honorable Dr. Vijayadasa Rajapaksa, Minister of Justice, Prison Affairs and Constitutional Reforms, to moderate the session.
Justice Nawaz, while serving in the Attorney General's Department, extensively appeared in both domestic and international litigation of Sri Lanka. He was a delegate representing Sri Lanka at the United Nations Human Rights Council from 2010 to 2014. Honorable Justice Nawaz, now I invite you to deliver your speech.
Landmark events of this university, the 14th Asian Criminology Conference, which has chosen as one of the important themes crime and criminal justice, sustainable development, peace and security. So, ladies and gentlemen, the topic I thought fit this afternoon is the control delivery as a tool of criminal investigation. My topic is control delivery as a tool of criminal investigations, lessons from a case study. I would be starting by asking a question myself and from the distinguished members of the audience. Are the current challenges met by the criminal justice systems, not only in Sri Lanka but across the world? As a prelude, I thought of inviting your attention to the fundamentals of criminal justice system. The edifice of criminal justice system is constructed on three principal pillars. Those are, as you could see, are the apprehension of suspects, investigation into the crimes, and prosecution.
I wish to talk more about the criminal justice system and how it affects the fundamental rights or the humanitarian grounds of the victims. As we convened under the theme of crime and criminal justice, sustainable development, peace and security in Asia, I embark on a journey to explore the intricate interplay between the criminology and the human rights, an area that reasons display with the principles of justice, equity and progress, the very theme which have been discussing.
Today we gather to address a critical issue that affects our criminal justice system, the well-being of our society. The issue is prison overcrowding, a challenge that Sri Lanka, like many nations, is suffering. The increase in inmates population due to long pre-trial detention is a significant threat to effectiveness of proposed to our correctional system. It strains our resources and undermines the principles of rehabilitation, and ultimately hinders the reintegration of offenders into society. In this speech, I intend to highlight the importance of introducing alternatives of imprisonment as a fundamental solution within Sri Lankan correctional reforms.
Now it is the time for all the participants that 10 minutes is allocated. If you have any question from any of those speakers, it's the time for you to raise.
Good afternoon. Thank you for the recognition, Honorable Minister of Justice. I am Jerry Canyo from the Philippines, and I have questions to some of our speakers. But first, allow me to share this question to our third speaker, our former Supreme Court Justice, Dihidinia, if I got it right. A while back, our Minister of Justice has mentioned that Sri Lanka has passed a law in 2016 about the Victims Compensation Act. My question is, do the Sri Lankan government have this legal tool already that compensate the victims not only of crime but also of human rights violations by state actors and non-state actors? And what is the process that has been adopted by the Sri Lankan government on this? With the kind indulgence of the Minister of Justice, can I throw my question to the next speaker? Thank you. I was so amazed with the pronouncement of our first speaker, Justice Philip Nawaz, when he made mention about judication of peace or providing peace in the judicial processes. I just would like to get to know how is the framework of this view and how would we promote peace in the judiciary, considering that the creation of court, basically when a case is decided by a jury or a judge, it basically divides and breaks the relationship of the parties. So how could we then, perhaps we could better adapt this concept if you could provide us the conceptual framework of how could justice be incorporated in the judiciary?
To give compensation. But the Human Rights Commission is not a district court where we are unable to assess the damages. In district court, there is a value of assessing the damages. The calculation, there are methods of calculation and all those things. But in the Human Rights Commission, you enter a nominal amount as compensation. And not only that, if the person is unable to make a complaint or is unable to come to the Human Rights Commission, then the Human Rights Commission can provide money for the complaint.
I think we're ready to go, so I'll invite the first speaker up to the podium. And we've got David Richard Revo.
Thank you very much. So my name is David. I belong to the Commission's Office of Crime. I'm based in South Korea. I work for the Center, which is the Center of Excellence for Statistics on Crime and Criminal Justice in Asia Pacific. So I will talk about trafficking in person in Asia Pacific, high quality data for an effective combat strategy. So, just to let you know about our center, so we are a small office So just a few words about the data, because we are using data to understand what is happening. So in Asia Pacific, the data is very limited in terms of traveling in person. The data is poor, the data is scarce, the data is...
My name is Dr. Emily Smith. I'm a lecturer at the University of Glasgow in Scotland, and I have the wonderful privilege to introduce to you my research assistant and interlocutor.
Hello everyone, my name is and I'm from Nepal, and as I know today.
So as we've heard from the last presenter, there's a lot of work that is being done by consultants, by translators, by research assistants, that perhaps is not always credited, or is often not credited by criminologists, and we're here to change that. Our research really relies on the communities of origin that we work with, and so I wanted to just give you a quick disclaimer, because you will see a lot of pictures today. All of the statues that we are showing today belong to their communities of origin, or to repatriate them to their communities of origin. This is a very sensitive and political topic, and so we're trying to do as much right by the communities of origin as we can. So we are committed to an ethics of care, not only towards humans, but also towards their culture, their religion, their nature, their landscape, and the ecosystems that they are.
His Lordship, the Chief Justice of the Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka, Honorable Jayantha Jayasuriya, President's Council, Secretary to the Ministry of Defence, General Kamal Gunaratne, WWE, RWP, RSP, USP, NDC, PSC, Vice Chancellor of KDU, Rear Admiral Dhammika Kumara, VSV, USP, PSC, Founding President, Asian Criminological Society, Professor Jiang Hong Liu, President, Asian Criminological Society, Professor R. Tilagaraj, their Lordships of the Supreme Court and Court of Appeal, Honorable Justices of the High Courts, members of the Judiciary and the Attorney General's Department, heads of departments, Professor John Braithwaite, academic and administrative staff of KTU, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. We warmly welcome you all to the closing ceremony of the 14th Asian Criminology Conference 2023, jointly organized by Asian Criminological Society and the Faculty of Criminal Justice of General Sir John Kotalawala Defence University, under a timely and decisive theme: Crime and Criminal Justice, Sustainable Development, Peace and Security in Asia. Next on the agenda is the welcome remarks by the Vice Chancellor. It is with respect that I cordially invite on stage the Vice Chancellor of KDU, Rear Admiral Dhammika Kumara, to welcome you all at this prestigious event.
The Chief Justice, Your Lordship, Jayantha Jayasuriya PC, Secretary, Ministry of Defence, General Kamal Gunaratne, WWE, RWP, RSP, USP, NDC, PSC, their Lordships of Supreme Court and Court of Appeal, Honorable Justice of High Courts, members of Judiciary and Attorney General Department, Professor R. Tilagaraj, President, Asia Criminological Society, distinguished Professor John Braithwaite, Professor Liu, Founding President of ACS, executive members of the ACS, eminent speakers, distinguished invitees, international participants to the conference, Deputy Vice Chancellor, Defense and Administration, Deputy Vice Chancellor Academics, deans of faculties, directors, academia, officers of Triforces and Department of Police, administrative staff of KDU, dear students and other distinguished invitees. Very good morning to all of you. Today in this lovely morning, I am delighted and very much privileged to stand before you to officially welcome you all for the final day and closing ceremony of the 14th Asian Criminology Conference 2023. This is a unique gathering of some of the brightest minds in the field of criminology and criminal justice. We are truly delighted to have you here today, representing diverse backgrounds and perspectives, all with a shared passion for understanding, addressing, and preventing crimes while promoting peace, security, and sustainable development in our societies. Ladies and gentlemen, at the very outset, let me have the honor to welcome our chief guest for the closing ceremony, Chief Justice, His Lordship Jayant Jayasuriya PC, to grace this important occasion. We as the hosting university extend our heartfelt gratitude for accepting our invitation and being present here. Your Lordship's presence in this conference made us proud and added a value to the deliberations, and we are waiting to hear your insightful remarks in your keynote speech. Also, I have the distinct honor to welcoming the guest speaker today, Professor Jan Hodlew, a founding president of Asian Criminological Society. He is with us over the last 2 days, and we are extremely grateful to you for accepting our invitation and honoring us with your presence to deliver the guest speech at the closing ceremony of the Asian Criminology Conference 2023. We are looking forward to listen to your words of wisdom. I also have the honor of welcoming the Secretary of Defense, General Kamal Gunratna, who is the chair of the Board of Management of KDU, as the special guest. Sir, your presence is very much valued to us, and I acknowledge your guidance and support extended to us to organize this conference in this magnitude to a greater success. Let me extend a warm welcome to one of the special guests present here, Professor John Brickworth, who has delivered one of the keynote addresses in the opening session of this conference. Sir, your thought-provoking and intellectual speech kept this year's conference in high note, and your valuable and rare presence made this event more significant. I also welcome all the distinguished guests of His Lordships of Supreme Court and Court of Appeal, Honorable Justices of High Courts, members of Judiciary and Attorney General Department, Head of Departments, senior officers, and all other members of the Board of Management present here to this significant event in KDU, where your presence made us proud and honored. Ladies and gentlemen, let me also welcome current President and all the members of ACS, academics, scholars, presenters who have presented papers at the plenary and other technical sessions, and all other distinguished invitees, conference participants, and students joining this event physically as well as on cyberspace. As the Vice Chancellor of the KDU, I wholeheartedly appreciate your valuable presence in this occasion. As the hosting university for this historical event, it is with profound satisfaction that I announce the culmination of a very successful academic exercise with this closing ceremony, which I would leave a golden
marked in the history of KDU. Today we are glad that KDU has firmly established its footprints as a unique higher education model in the world and especially in Sri Lanka. General Sir John Kotalawala Defence University's steady growth, quality of its output and its popularity as a higher education institute in Asia are evident as for the second consecutive year, KDU has been ranked high in the latest Times Higher Education Impact Ranking in 2023. Ladies and gentlemen, the recognition KDU has secured internationally has been established today. With this intellectual dialogue, where academic communities across the globe have joined hands to seek viable solutions for the most contemporary issues of criminal justice. In addition, KDU has set goals for stakeholders in criminal justice in Sri Lanka by introducing novel degrees in this field, thereby opening new gateways for them to play professional roles in the country's criminal justice system. Faculty of Criminal Justice KDU has shouldered this challenge with high academic mettle. We have built strong partnership with the departments of police and the prisons to cater for this national mission. Dear respected audience, criminology at its core is the pursuit of understanding the complexities of human behavior. Research in criminology and associated areas is of paramount importance for crime prevention with the recent evaporation of novel trends in crime of non-traditional nature. We also need to realize the recent tendency of countries to engage in international crimes like aggression over less powerful countries. Finally, let me wind up by thanking once again all the distinguished personalities for being present throughout the conference, endorsing this worthy event. Thank you and have a fruitful day ahead.
Let me now respectfully invite on stage Professor R. Tilagaraj, President, Asian Criminological Society, to deliver the conference summary.
His Excellency, the Supreme Court Judge, other lordships, dignitaries, delegates, my dear students, I am so happy to present before you a summary of the conference of this 14th Asian Criminological Conference. The Asian Criminological Society and the General Sir John Kotilawala University of Defence University jointly organized the 14th Asian Criminology Conference at KDU premises from 27th to 29th October 2023. The theme of the conference was Crime, Criminal Justice, Sustainable Development, Peace, Security in Asia. The abstracts were categorized under 15 sub-themes. They are crime trends and issues, crime prevention and control, sustainable development towards peace and security, reforms in police, judiciary and corrections, technology-based crimes, alternative dispute resolutions, justice for children, women and other vulnerable groups, victim justice and services, human rights and criminal justice, retributive justice and restorative justice, crime and its relations to politics, crime and media, community-based policing and corrections, police-public relationship developments in Asian criminology. On all these themes, we could receive very good papers, particularly from the young scholars. Most of the themes are centered around the theme of the conference, peace and security in Asia. And above all, I would like to appreciate the organizers to have in the beginning Professor John Braithwaite. He spoke about peace building, and all through he is not only teaching restorative justice, doing research, but practicing peace building different parts of the world. I appreciate the excellent speech delivered by the senior judges, Supreme Court judges of Sri Lanka. I wonder, I told yesterday in our board meeting, this conference is treating a new trend. We talk a lot, not only bringing the academia, but also the criminal justice practitioners. Sir, among all the conferences, we completed 13 conferences, and this conference is something immemorable because, we talk a lot that bringing together academia, the criminologist and criminal justice most of the time. But this is what happened very much really in this conference. You have delivered an excellent learner speeches that will be inspiring the scholars here all through. Because the theme, whether it is the students who spoke about restorative justice, many papers, and crimes against women and children, and also from John Braithwaite to all the speeches by the learned judges, the attorney generals, and other expert, the chairman of the Victim Justice Program in Sri Lanka, really wonderful, useful, inspiring. Because again, as I told you, these are centered around the theme of peace and security. Asia is the land of, Lord Buddha, Mahatma Gandhi. And one of the students from China spoke about Confucianism, the ingredients of restorative justice, peaceful. And this topic is vital. And we, the Asian criminologists, tell the world that peace and security alone, the non-violence alone will prevail forever. Otherwise, it will not end up violence lead to violence. What is happening in the world? And some of the papers brought to light how the young children are exploited sexually and how they are all abused in the wars. You might have seen in the field of war a child coming crying with the books. Are we really civilized, or are we going back to atavism? This is the situation. I think this conference will bring into light really the many learnings which should go to the different parts of the world. And this conference really a wonderful theme we have selected. Really we discussed, a dialogue was going on in a lot in this presentations, and immediately after the presentation of the learned judges, followed by questions raised. And apart from that, we had research papers awards, the best research paper awards, to inspire the students, to motivate the students that in the future there should be good researchers in Asian countries. They also presented, and we have selected the best papers also. Totally there are 121 papers presented by the scholars, eminent scholars, students, and there are from 15 countries they represented. Really, there's a wonderful and participative conference from all over the world, not only from Asia. I am so thankful and grateful to the team of the Vice Chancellor, Professor Jiva, and all others for giving us an opportunity to participate in this wonderful conference in the annals of Asian Criminology Conference. You have made a mark, and it is a memorable one. Once again, I thank you all for this opportunity. Thank you so much.
It's my honor and privilege to introduce the chief guest and the keynote speaker of the closing ceremony of the 14th Asian Criminology Conference 2023, the Chief Justice of the Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka, to deliver the keynote address. Over to you, Your Lordship.
Thank you for that introduction. My sister and brother justices of the Supreme Court of Sri Lanka, President of the Court of Appeal and other judges of the Court of Appeal, Vice Chancellor of the KDU or Sir John Kothalawala Defence University, Secretary, Ministry of Defence, the Chairman of the Asian Criminology Society, the founder member, and other members of the academia of different universities, Professor Jiva Niriyalla, the chairperson of the organizing committee of this conference, researchers, delegates, students, and distinguished invitees. Good morning to all of you. I wish to thank Professor Niriyalla and the organizing committee for the invitation extended to me to join with you all this morning. Over the last 2 days, you all enjoyed the privilege to be part of this great endeavor. The Asian Criminological Society, as part of its engagements, opted to give the opportunity to host this great event to one of the prime higher education institutes in Sri Lanka, Sir General Kothalawala Defence University. It is an honor to this great institution as well as to Sri Lanka. I am sure that the foreign delegates will reach their homes filled with great memories of their stay as well as the knowledge they gained through the wealth of experience and expertise shared by the resource persons. The theme under which the discussion proceeded over the last 2 days reflects several key areas which have direct influence on the entire society. Crime, criminal justice, sustainable development, peace and security have a great impact on the lives of all of us, irrespective of our individual status, professions, or occupations that we are engaged in. The list of areas and subjects under which you all have engaged in discussions reflect that you had the opportunity to listen to experts from those respective areas. Criminology, being a subject which goes beyond the parameters of criminal justice process itself, sometimes may overlap in certain areas with the criminal justice process. I will make an attempt to focus on few matters that have common interest to both these areas. Criminal behavior among members of the society had been prevalent from the birth of human race. Is a statement that would neither be protested nor would surprise anyone. Nevertheless, few pertinent questions in this regard are what is criminal behavior? What is a crime? And what if we don't have the body of laws now we call criminal law or penal laws? In the Urnamu Code, witchcraft, escapades of slaves, and assault were recognized as conduct which would attract punishments. In the Code of Lifista, another version of Sumerian law, it was provided that, I quote, if a man entered the orchard of another and was seized there for stealing, he shall pay 10 shekels of silver. Close quote. Babylonian's Code of Hammurabi contained laws relating to murder, assault, theft, etc. In the early stages of Greek civilization, prior to the 7th century BC, criminal law had not existed. When someone was murdered, the victim's family members would usually take the law into their own hands and kill the murderer, resulting in a chain of bloodfeuds. It was only around 620 BC that Draco, a lawgiver, finally wrote the first laws of ancient Greece. Under his laws, homicide was deemed punishable by exile. There is no doubt coexistence is the key to progress of a society. Mutual respect, altruism, and tolerance are few qualities that would foster an environment of coexistence. However, with the difficulties to maintain such qualities among all members of the society, rulers and states have taken upon themselves the responsibility to draw the line and demarcate the boundaries between certain types of behavior with the objective to protect and preserve a peaceful coexistence among members. The responsibility of maintaining law and order in a society rests with the state. With the codes of criminal behavior being formulated and adopted in early civilizations several centuries ago, penal law has evolved to its present form with the passage of time. Each state has taken upon itself the responsibility to formulate such codes and protect the members of the society in their respective countries. According to William Wilson, criminal law functions as, I quote, society's formal method of social control, close quote, and, quote, sets boundaries both to our behavior and to the power of the state to coerce and punish us, close quote. He describes criminal law as a, I quote, product of human minds. However, the mere existence of codes identifying criminal conduct and setting punitive provisions will not bring in desired results without having clear rules of procedure and evidence. In the civilized world, it is the administration of justice mechanism that takes over the responsibility in deciding whether any person is guilty of the offenses specified in the penal laws. Insufficiency of the mere existence of penal laws to achieve this goal, the peaceful coexistence among members of the society, is well recognized. Code of Criminal Procedure and Evidence Ordinance are pieces of legislation that we always pay attention to, together with the penal law and other legislation. It is a well-settled principle that the state holds the responsibility to establish each and every element of criminal liability by proof beyond reasonable doubt. We all are aware of the principles enunciated by Viscount Sankey in Wilmington case. It is also apt to remind us the subsequent jurisprudence of the Supreme Court of Sri Lanka on Ellenborough dictum. I do not intend engaging in a detailed discussion on this aspect at this point of time. Suffice to flag this development for completeness in this discussion, focusing on the changes that has taken place over the passage of time. In Sri Lanka, the Penal Code, the main statute that recognizes offences and punishment for such offences had been in force since 1883, with the changes that had taken place from time to time. These changes that were introduced through amendments reflect attempts by the state to address concerns raised in the society during the respective periods of time. One such example would be the changes introduced in the year 1995 and the connected amendments in the subsequent years. These changes were introduced with the objective of enhancing protection to two vulnerable sections in the community, women and children. Through these amendments, a series of new offences were introduced along with deterrent penalties. In the same context, the amendments brought into the Poisons, Opium and Dangerous Drugs Ordinance in the years 1984 and 1986 demonstrate the legislature's attempt to address a serious social problem which had reached alarming levels and still continuing to grow while causing immense damage to the entire society. It is also pertinent to note that the changes through amendments to existing penal laws have not been confined to introducing new offences. Instead, changes through amendments have also taken place to remove offences from the sphere of penal laws, reflecting the thinking of the societies at a given time. Repeal of the provisions relating to criminal defamation marks one such significant change.
The distinguished founding president of the Asian Criminology Society, Professor Jing On Liu.
First of all, I truly appreciate the support and tremendous amount of input in resources by Defense University. I greatly appreciate the support of the Chancellor, Vice Chancellor, administrative staff, and JIVA and its organizing committee for conducting this important conference. Okay. It is an important conference in such a background as many of our scholars and students, particularly from Asia, being very well aware that compared to what we saw typically in the Western country, right? The dominant theories and the dominant practice are largely coming from a Western origin. However, as I chat with, let's say, Professor Chauhan yesterday, right? People in Asia, criminologists, judges, prosecutors, lawyers in Asia, see so much a big difference here, in practice, in theory, in many cultural understanding in terms of criminology theory. So who is going to take this out, to let the whole world know? I mean, that's the purpose and the mission of Asian Criminological Society. That was why 14 years ago we started this society. Okay, so my lecture is going to come back to the basic concepts. What is criminology? What is Asian criminology? The main idea of Asian criminology. So this is what I'm going to focus on. This is a big topic, but let's be very brief and quick to give us a review of those basic concepts. First, you can see that criminology originated from the West and grown primarily in the West. And most top criminology journals are in English. But as you can see, there's so many criminology knowledge and criminal justice practice in Asia, and let's see, in India, in Sri Lanka, it's very effective. So where are these knowledge being included in the dominant criminology? So criminology as a science, as a social science, it has the same desire to seek for general knowledge, general human understanding of crime and justice. However, as I just mentioned, the contrast is there's such a huge, a vast cultural variation reflecting the political science, the political system, economic system in many justice arrangements. So this variation actually is in very strong contrast with the seeking of a general knowledge, general pattern. How this conflict be resolved? This is a very important critical question for any science, particularly for criminology. So, how this universality that science and social science has been always put as a top mission to seek knowledge growth, to understanding in general human and human justice. How is that universal pursuit of knowledge is in conflict with wide, vast variation. So this is a challenge I think Asian criminology try to take. Okay. So there are several responses to this challenge. One of the response is just take Western established theory, assume which is universal. As we read Western literature, we often see that happens, right? Let's see a famous theory. When the theorists take their theory, come to, let's say, to India, to China, to Malaysia, to Philippines, right? They collect data and test the theory, find the theory may not fit very well. Then they try to assume some universal understanding of that, make a little bit adjustment to the data, but not to challenge the fundamentals of the theory. That's one reaction to it. The second reaction is culture-dependent theory. Says all theories are culture-dependent. There's no such a thing like in science. There's a universal theory or universal understanding of human behavior or criminal behavior or criminal justice. So these are two most important reactions. The third reaction is that a critical branch, critical understanding of the theory. Would they, let's say a famous idea is colonization. See, Western theory colonize the colonies, including India, all this, Sri Lanka, right? Therefore, what we need to do as criminologists, as criminal justice scholars, is to decolonize them. Okay? So we take a critical stance, largely, even fundamentally overthrew everything that Westerners has invented or developed or forced on us. That's a third reaction. But Asian criminology take a very different stance. First of all, we agree with, let's say, colonization understanding, critical scholars, that there is so much vast knowledge and so much invention, justice practice that are very effective, very suitable for the Asian context, has been missed or has been ignored. This is a very major loss of criminology knowledge. We consider that is something that we have to correct. Okay. So in that regard, we're the same as Southern criminologists, as other critical traditions. But on the other hand, we also value the tradition, the knowledge invention, the persistent and successful achievements by the Western scholars. We're not saying that all this Western criminology are wrong. We're not saying that. Asian criminology take a crossroad, take such a road that we try to take the challenge to offer a unique solution or a pursuit of that solution. Okay. So that is what Asian criminology mainly is trying to do. First of all, we redefine Asian criminology as the study of crime and justice in the Asian context. See the points, the Asian context is the key word. Okay? So we have to deeply study Asian context. Like other scholars, they're locally working, digging out very effective means of what works in Asian context. And we take an approach that is called context-focused approach. So the approach of Asian criminology, we call it context-focused approach. That is, we need to deeply understand the context, the variation, the vast differences between Asia context, between a particular country, its practice, its criminal justice practice, its criminology understanding, criminal behavior understanding. We deeply understand that. We take it out. We show that to the Western conventional criminology discipline. Okay. So with that, Asian criminology established the society and established much of the development over the past 14 years. Okay. In 2009, as many of our scholars very well explained and reviewed, we established Asian Criminological Society. And this idea of Asian paradigm was actually proposed from there on, and a famous scholar, Leon Mozavi, published in 2019 British Journal of Criminology Journal, pointed out that Asian paradigm, how that was proposed. Okay. And then many very famous criminologists have supported the development of Asian criminology. We had a conference, first conference in Macau, and then we had many conferences until today. We're having a conference in Sri Lanka. Okay. And this is the picture of history. We can see many important scholars. We see John Wiswith in there, and we see Jiva, we see Dr. Tilagarash. We see many other scholars coming from 14 countries, including the director of American Society of Criminology, Chris, participating in this conference, established Asian Society of Criminology. Okay, so the concept of Asian criminology, the focus or the paradigm of the Asian criminology has been reviewed. The first of the time, it was in a 2009 article that published in Asian Journal of Criminology. And then later on, many famous scholars have supported Asian criminology. For example, John Wiswith, right? Walkley, who was the president of British Society of Criminology, and also a friend of Southern criminologist, and also she has been the editor-in-chief of British Society of Criminology, all made those very important remarks. But I will not read them because there's too many. You can just quickly, review them. And particularly, these criminologists pointed out the importance, role of Asian criminology can play in group criminology as a discipline in general. Okay. So, as I mentioned, one of the most important tasks we're still doing, and our members and our scholars in Asia, and also those around the world doing very well, made great contribution, is to focus on discover, ignored, and missed, either deliberately or accidentally, the major knowledge in crime and justice in Asia contexts. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, now it is time for the presentation of awards for well-deserved personalities. May I now respectfully invite on stage Professor Lata Subramaniam, Executive Committee Member of Asian Criminological Society, to announce the awards. To present the awards, I most respectfully invite on stage the Chief Justice of the Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka, His Lordship, Honorable Jayanta Jayasuriya, President's Counsel, accompanied by the Vice Chancellor, Rear Admiral Dhammika Kumara, and the conference chair, Deshabandhu, Professor Jeeva Niriyalla.
A very good morning to one and all present here, the delegates and the participants. On behalf of the Executive Committee of ACS, General Assembly of ACS, and on behalf of the President of the Asian Criminological Society, I stand here humbly to introduce and also announce the awards on various categories of ACS. And 3 awards are offline, which are decided before the conference. Normally, ACS has a practice of inviting books for the award of Distinguished Book Award every year. And this year, 2023, we have Distinguished Book Award. For the purpose of selecting this, there was a committee which was constituted by the Executive Board of the ACS, and the committee consisted of the chairmanship of Professor Sergio Miyazawa, who is presently in UC Law, San Francisco, and he was the professor who was specializing in police reforms and judicial reforms in Japan, and he was chairing the award committee. Along with him, we had other 4 members, and one of the members is Professor Stephen Parmentier, who is the Secretary General of International Society of Criminology, and he is also presently teaching in University of Leuven, Belgium, and also University of Minnesota, Twin Cities. So, and other 3 members are Professor John Scott, who is here. He is presently the Professor and Head of Queensland Institute of Technology. He was also one of the members of the Distinguished Book Award Committee, along with Dr. Lata, myself, and the another member, default member, the President of ACS, Professor Tilakraj. So, anonymously, based on the entries, we received a lot of entries for the book award. Normally, the book award for the entries, the call for nominations are done every year prior to 6 months of the conference being held. So, the books which had been contributed significantly for the development of criminology are invited for the award, and that book should be published prior to the conference, whichever is happening. For example, for 2024 award, the book should be published in the year 2023. So the committee, after careful examination for the 2023 award of Distinguished Book Award ACS, selected Professor Tian Ma. Professor Tian Ma could not make it over here, and we also tried to connect over online, but due to some technical issues, she could not join here. But the 2023 Distinguished Book Award of ACS goes to Professor Tian Ma. Professor Tian Ma is actually teaching in she's teaching in Montfort University. She's specializing in criminology and border criminology. So this award goes for her book, Contesting Criminology in Post-Lucan China. And the book is published by Springer in the year 2002. So we humbly place this before the presenters, and I request the President ACS to receive the certificate on behalf of Professor Tian Ma, who could not be present here. We also have the Distinguished Book Award, Honorable Mention, and that Honorable Mention, I request Professor Tilakraj to stay back. So, the Honorable Mention for the 2023 Distinguished Book Award goes to Ang Kui Shen. Ang Kui Shen is presently teaching in Northernberg University, and she specializes in migration, trafficking, human rights, and gender justice. So, for her book on Women Police in Contemporary China, Gender and Policing, which was published by Routledge in the year 2022, she has been mentioned as a honorable mention of 2023 Distinguished Book Award. May I request Professor Tilakraj to receive the award on her behalf. And the next award for encouraging the young researchers to publish in the journals of various parts of the country or the world, the ACS have introduced Best Paper Award. So this award is specifically for the purpose of some researcher who is of young in nature, who have done their research, who have published their research in a very popular and a reputed journal of criminology or law or sociology, will be the recipient of this award. And for the year 2023, the Best Paper Award goes to Yang-Xiu Lee and Zhang Shan Park. So their article on Using Big Data to Prevent Crime, Legitimacy Matters, which is published in the Asian Journal of Criminology by Springers, they'll be receiving this award, and I request Professor Tilakraj to receive the award on their behalf too. So now we come to another important award section. Every year in the conference of ACS, we actually encourage the young researchers to present their empirical research paper, and that empirical research paper should have been done in the last 2 years, and it has some criteria, and following the criteria, there will be a panel of judges who will be evaluating their presentations in the conference offline, and for that purpose, this year we received a lot of papers, but considering the empirical in nature and other factors which are relevant to the award, few papers were selected for the purpose of presentation, and we had the presentation of those young researchers yesterday, and they presented on various topics of importance in the field of criminology. The main purpose of this award is to encourage the youngsters to do a lot of empirical research, field-based research, to come out the hidden facts which are in the field of criminology. For example, like dark figures among the victims, or the silent victims, or anything related to the criminology which is known to the elsewhere. So for them to understand the methodology of the research in criminology, we have this particular award instituted from last year. In Gujarat National Law University, we had the first award being presented. In this award session, we have 3 awards. The first award being gold medal, then the silver medal, and the consolation bronze medal. So for this, now we can call upon, those researchers are present here. They would be receiving their awards in the stage with the Honorable Justice and other distinguished members. So let me have the privilege of announcing the bronze or consolation award. The bronze or consolation award goes to Mr. Bala Manigandan. His research was on the intimate partner violence which occurred in Chennai city. So he did, may I call upon Bala Manigandan? Please make it fast. So this award, this paper concentrated on various kinds of violences that happens among intimate partners, which is not known to other people. So he came out with a hidden fact on how violence could happen amidst them. So for his contribution on this particular topic, he is receiving the award, which is judged by the eminent judges. And the judges of the session were Professor Balraj Chauhan, Professor John Scott, and also the head of the Department of Criminology from KDU. So may I request the Honorable Judge and the eminent members to hand over the award certificate to Bala Manigandan. The second award, which is the silver award, silver medal, that goes to another important topic of research. And I know that it is very difficult to have such researchers in the field, but the candidate took the pain of doing all those things. And that particular research is focusing on child rape victims, which was reported in Chennai city. So may I call upon Ms. Shakira Banu, who is winning the silver medal for her research paper on child rape victims, causes and consequences, and also she studied the difficult part of the research is she interviewed the offenders who had been punished in the prison, and she found what are the major causes for them to commit such rape among the children who are below 18 years. The cases which she found was the least child who was raped was of 28 days, which was very disheartening, but she could try to come out with a lot of causes which made them to do that. Maybe in future it will be helpful for the criminal justice agencies to prevent using such researchers done by young researchers. I appreciate Shakira Banu. May I kindly request the Honorable Justice and also the members to give her the certificate. And the final moment, which is again a greatest moment for a life of a young researcher. So I now call upon the gold medal winner of this ACS Code of Best Research Paper Award, Ms. Priyadarshini. She was from University of Madras, Department of Criminology. So she did her research on the problems, issues faced by the scheduled tribe in Ooty, which is one of the districts in Tamil Nadu. So the factors of what they were undergoing so long, even she herself is a resident of that particular district, but she herself was not knowing that such many victimizations are happening against them. So she took the pain of interviewing all those victims, went to their villages, went to their houses, and she spent a lot of hours to study on the victimization pattern and what are the available programs and what could be done along with the NGOs and the government. So for the excellent work of field research, whichever she has done, the jury has selected her for the gold medal of ACS Code of Best Research Paper Award. At this juncture, I would like to thank Professor Tilakraj. This particular award was designed by him, his institution, Center of Excellence in Digital Forensics, needs a mention because this award is sponsored by his institution, Center of Excellence in Digital Forensics. The students will be receiving the medals and also the cash prize to their respective places after this conference. And that particular medal and the cash prize is sponsored by his institution every year. He being a topmost criminologist in Asia, he feels that the students should be encouraged, and being the president, he wanted to bring this into ACS. And thank you, sir, for this contribution to ACS and the young researchers. So I take this moment to call for papers for various awards for the next year, including the Distinguished Book Award. The Distinguished Book Award never actually discriminate whether it is young researcher or the senior researcher or whatever be it a lecturer or a senior professor. This award is meant for a book which could really make some contribution in this field. So for the Distinguished Book Award, for the Student Graduate Award, and for the Best Paper Award, and also for the Best Research Paper in the conference, I take this opportunity to invite all of you and to spread this word for the next conference to be held in Philippines also. Thank you for this opportunity and thank you for this moment. Thank you, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, now I would like to call upon the President of the Asian Criminological Society, Professor R. Tilagaraj, to wrap up the conference.
The Vice Chancellor of KD University, Professor Jiva, and his team for a very well organized, and it is a successful conference. Thank you so much on behalf of the Asian Criminological Society. And with this, we wrap up. I declare that the 14th Asian Criminology Conference 2023 has officially concluded. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we wait in anticipation, next on the agenda is the conference announcement that will be conducted by the Chair of the Asian Criminology Society Conference 2024.
And to everyone who are here in these closing ceremonies, good morning. I am Jerry Canyo, the National President of the Professional Criminologists Association of the Philippines. And we are so proud to host the next Asian Criminological Society by next year. That will be the 15th Criminology Congress in Asia. And our proposed date will be on July 4, 5, and 6, 2024 in Manila, Philippines.
Ladies and gentlemen, to present tokens of appreciation to the keynote speaker and guest speaker of the day, let me invite with respect on stage the Secretary to the Ministry of Defence, General Kamal Gunaratna, accompanied by the Vice Chancellor, Rear Admiral Dhammika Kumara, Honorable Jayanta Jayasuriya, President's Council, to accept the token of appreciation. To respectfully invite on stage the founding president of Asian Criminological Society, Professor Jia Hong Liu, to accept the token of appreciation.
To deliver the vote of thanks, let me kindly invite the chair of the 14th Asian Criminology Conference 2023, Deshabandhu Professor Jiva Nirel.
Even the day that we have started to organize this conference, sometimes I may not be able to call you by name, but I apologize for that. While apologizing, I thank all those names could not be mentioned but who contributed to the successful of this conference. Ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, this conference has been a remarkable journey filled with knowledge sharing, collaboration, and inspiration. I encourage you all to carry the learnings and connections made here into your respective fields and continue to push the boundaries of knowledge and innovation. I hope you will take all the sweet memories with you that you experienced during your stay in this beautiful country, Sri Lanka. Let's look forward to more groundbreaking conference in the future. Once again, thank you very much all you for your unwavering support and participation. Thank you very much and cheers for the 14th Asian Criminology Conference 2023. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam.